Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing? My name is Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to my channel. So, we're going to be covering quite a lot in this video, and I'm going to ask my guides, Archangel Metatron, the angels, Jesus, to help me steer this conversation in the right way, in a heart-centered way, with no judgment, with no blame, from a place where we can learn, we can come together, and we can improve. We can improve as a community, we can improve as a greater collective. Because upon the spiritual path, there are always going to be times of great learning, and it feels as though the last few weeks has been one of them. I will reference Kate Middleton, Princess Catherine, whatever you want to call her. But to be perfectly honest, whether it's Kate, whether it's any of the other divisive figures or subjects in our world, you could say it started many years ago with, pick a name out of the hat, any politician that you particularly find difficult or challenging to stay in your heart with. And you may have watched videos about these subjects, particularly tarot, which is one of the things I'm going to be talking about in this video. The lessons we can learn from reading tarot well versus reading tarot to back up what we want it to say, which is not how it should be used. So tarot, like any other divining tool, is only as good as the one that wields it, the one that uses it, the depth of their understanding of it, and the intention with which it is used. So whether you're reading on Kate, whether you're reading on Donald Trump, whether you're reading on Joe Biden, whether you're reading on whoever, you will only get out of the tarot. Well, what Metatron's saying is the tarot will mirror back to you a lot of the time where you are. So it should only ever be a tool. It shouldn't ever be taken as complete gospel, because it's a powerful tool used in the right hands, but it does need to be respected, and there are boundaries around it. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that, okay? But before we get to any of that, I'm going to share with you some of the thoughts that I wrote down when I was in Switzerland. I've got about 4 pages of notes, so I'm going to be referring to them, because I was away when a lot of the drama was playing out with regards to Kate, post her diagnosis of cancer, post the conflict with regards to the video that was put out, which I really don't want to get into another discussion on really in this video. It's all been said on other videos. Other people have given their 2 pennies worth. I have referred to it myself on my social media, but I don't just want this video to be about the bench and the video and whether it was real or whether it was fake. I'd like us to learn from where we are, because as I say, Kate is just one story. There are going to be many, many stories, and it's going to escalate like a, excuse the pun in terms of where I've been, a rolling snowball that just gathers more and more snow, and we have to know what we're dealing with, and we have to be responsible in our craft if we are readers and healers and channelers, but equally we also have to be responsible if we are a viewer of said material. And we're all viewers. I watch other people's work. Sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't agree with it. The people that I've watched for a long time, if I particularly vehemently disagree, I just sort of give them a pass and I come back another time. And I know some of you do that with me as well. That's the spiritually mature reaction. But anyway, let me, I just don't know where really to start. Well, I'll start with what's just happened actually, which is that I'm not going to pull cards, I don't think, in this video, but because we're going to be talking about the tarot, I said, okay, to the tarot, I said, what do you want to say about the tarot itself? So asking the tarot what it wants to say about the tarot. And off camera, a card completely jumped out of the deck. And it's this one. It's the Six of Wands. It's a card of victory, basically. But what's interesting is if we look at the Six of Wands, it's very much a card of triumph and success, representing the recognition and the rewards for your achievements. So I'm just reading something from online here, okay? It reminds us that hard work, perseverance, and self-confidence can lead to great accomplishments. So if we pull some of those words out, hard work, perseverance, the tarot is basically saying that it is something that is much deeper, much wiser, much, I just want to say much deeper than it appears upon the surface. And as I just said, it's only as good as the one that is able to use it. You can be greatly accomplished in reading it, but it comes via hard work, perseverance, and also believing in yourself. And I would expect also there will be times when you've fallen off that horse and had to get back on it, made a mistake. All readers have made mistakes. All readers have called something wrong. Because to be able to come maybe on camera and even give an opinion on anything, particularly if it's controversial, means you have to a degree, have a bit of self-confidence to receive the knocks and the whatever else you get, as well as hopefully some praise and, etc. Not that that's really why you should be doing it if you are a tarot reader. So the tarot can be victorious. It can help us, but only if we put the work in. And I think what's happening is that a lot of people are turning to tarot. A lot of people are setting up tarot channels or, just readings who haven't necessarily put the hard work in to trying to really deeply understand the symbolism, the meaning of individual cards, combination of cards, what they mean. And more than anything, then also interpreting it in their own way, but from a wise, grounded place, yeah? So from my perspective, because I'm a colour therapist, I might, for example, try and draw out the colours that are in cards, or I'll see something, you've seen lots of readers do that, you'll look at a card, you might do it yourself, and you see something you've never seen before, even though you've looked at the card many times. And it's because in that moment, the thing that's most important is the little red ribbon that's tied around the wand, which I've never seen before. So we could interpret that if we were asking about something. But it's definitely something which in the wrong hands can be, I would actually say, dangerous, and it can do more harm than good. One thing I've written down here is that tarot readings generally are a pretty unregulated area. And I think what has happened, and I'm going to use the Kate example in terms of where I saw other readers go, and I'll also talk about my own experience with reading on her in a moment. It's knowing when to stop. It's knowing maybe when there is a boundary, whether that is to do with, I don't know, privacy, whether it's to do with it's not the right time to divulge something. Maybe it's something that you're meant to know and have revealed to you, but isn't for wider public knowledge for whatever reason. I don't know. It could be linked into something that reflects and mirrors something that's happening in your life. Yeah? So knowing when to stop. It's about how you say things and for what reason and for what purpose. For what agenda, basically. And do you feel that you're coming away from a particular reading feeling hope? Or if not hope, because The truth is, if we read on subjects that are going on right now in our world, there's a lot of dark stuff. There's a lot of very difficult stuff that we navigate, and we're going to have to continue to navigate. So it's not about just using tarot for light and easy subjects. That's not what I'm saying. It's about why are the questions being asked, for what purpose, and knowing when to stop. So if I go back to my own work with regards to Kate, yes, I've received some flack over the last couple of weeks. To be expected. I'm not going to judge anybody, name or shame anybody. If people are rude, as I've said before, you will get blocked, which is a real shame actually, because you might then have something really brilliant you want to say on another video that isn't as contentious and we can't hear your voice. So the best thing to do if you're really triggered by a video that I've done or anybody else has done, or you vehemently disagree, is you just breathe, you count to 10 and you walk away. And I absolutely have done that with regards to the whole Kate story over the last couple of weeks, with a few people that I have followed for a long time and I am loyal to and I like, and I feel a soul tribe, but I just don't agree with what they did. But I wouldn't have dreamt of going onto their pages and dissing them or saying hateful stuff or stomping off. It's not my style. So I haven't done that. I did, however, walk away from one person who I'd just become acquainted with, literally 2 days before they posted something which I just thought was so horrendous. I did cut that tie because I had no loyalty to that person. But I'm really just trying to say that we all will disagree with each other from time to time, and that's fine. But most of the flack that came my way was, of course, well, actually, it's interesting. Some of the flack was stuff that I actually never said, okay? So this is the other thing. When you're part of a community, as much as I don't like to really be part of a, whatever you want to call this, a new age community, I'm not talking about people that follow me, I'm talking about the wider collective of all the readers, all the healers out there, because I've always been a bit of a lone wolf, and I always will be. So I don't like to be boxed in and called new age or Christian or anything. We'll talk about the cross in my next video. So what was I saying? Sorry, I got distracted there. Yes, I don't like to be boxed in. I don't like to feel as though I'm part of a larger community, because a lot of the time I don't agree with where the community is going or what they're doing. But when tarot comes under the microscope and under fire, and people come at you and say, well, you said this and you said that, and you haven't even said it, but other readers have said it. They've just basically got confused and they thought you did. Or they're just putting you in the big melting pot of what tarot readers did, for example, to Kate, or as I say, to Donald or to Joe or to anybody else. So I had a lot of people coming and saying, well, you were the one saying that their marriage was on the rocks. You were the one that was talking about the mistress. You were the one that was saying that William had harmed her. You were the one that was saying she was dead. I didn't say any of those things, okay? I didn't say any of those things. But as a reader, of course, there were cards that were pulled that definitely showed that there were issues within the marriage, and I said that. And then I drew the line. And I never read on a third-party situation because I just knew it was a step that I didn't want to take. It didn't feel right to take it. So I drew my own boundary there. In hindsight, whatever's going on with their marriage, of course, is their concern. But it could very well have been that what I was picking up were the real strains and struggles that can come as a result of fighting illness, whether that's physical, mental, or, as Kate herself said, spiritual, okay? But we're going to park that for now, and I'm certainly not going to go back and start digging around into their marriage now. The boundary line is there, okay? We could see there were some issues. Let's hope that they work it out, and that is what I said. The readers that maybe didn't do that, that's their call. I'm not going to judge them, I'm not going to blame them, but that's how I approached it. Of course, people also came at me for the fact that I had put up a video in November where it wasn't actually the tarot cards that revealed this information to me. I said that I felt at that time that there was an eating disorder linked to her. And I pointed out the very obvious plasters that had been on her fingers for a number of years, maybe even decades, and the trampolining accident and the bandaged hand, which was a few weeks before I think I talked. And people said, well, when are you going to apologise for that? And I thought, I'm not going to apologise for that, because where we have to be, and I also said in that video, by the way, I hope that I'm wrong, but I used that information that Spirit gave me because it was a message that I received from Spirit. It wasn't cards that revealed it. And I did think about it quite a long time before I posted that video. And I'm not going to take the video down because I feel as though I received that information for a reason, okay? And let's hope that if there was anything there, it's gone. But let's also be realistic in that you can be fighting more than one battle at any one time. I know people who are addicts, not necessarily addicted to an eating disorder, but addicted to things such as alcohol. And it's taken them decades to be able to stand up and say, I have a problem. So just because you might have a problem in one area, whether it be an addiction to something, doesn't mean that you can't also get unwell. You can't also maybe have issues going on in other areas of your life. Because if you think about your life, you will know that we're often fighting multiple battles at any one time. So just because one thing is identified doesn't mean that other things don't stand. But as I say, that's all I really want to say on that, okay? And I've questioned myself over the last week or so in terms of, well, knowing what you know now about her diagnosis, would you still have put that video up? And the truth is, I think I probably would. You can disagree with me on that, but it's a very difficult, fine line that we tread as readers and as healers, even those of us that are experienced. Because when you receive a very persistent, clear message from Spirit, I have always taught other people, and I stand by this, that you should really say what Spirit give you, because why are they giving it to you otherwise? I didn't feel it was being given to me just to sit on. I felt it could be used as an opportunity to help other people who were maybe fighting similar things. But as I say, it's been said now. I'm not going to unsay it. And the most important thing with all my work that I've done with regards to Catherine or anybody else really is to reach for the highest timeline, which is health, a removal of any negative energies that might be around that person or situation, and a return to peace and harmony and equilibrium. That's what I'm about, okay? That's what I'm about. But yeah, you know, there are difficult things often we have to say as readers. But yeah, I think maybe this is a video I'd like to go into in more depth another time, because there are other things I want to say as well in this video. But the whole thing about tarot and ethics and it being a thin line, and I just feel it's like it's knowing when to stop, okay? So for me, I mean, when her diagnosis came through, there was no way I wanted to reach for a packet of tarot cards and, you know, go into that more. Or worst case scenario, read on was she going to live or was she going to die? I would never dream of doing that. All we need to do is basically just continue to send her good wishes. I have said I feel that she could be a great beacon of hope for other people, and hopefully she does conquer this disease. She comes back stronger, and she can raise an awful lot of awareness for other people and do a lot of good. Because I have always felt, and I believe, that when something difficult happens to us in our life, we can always use it as an opportunity for good. So that's where I'm coming from on all of that. So taking it wider now, it's really about being the grown-up in the room, I feel. And that implies to those of us that are trying to read on difficult subjects, to not go down into lower energies, as gossipy type energies, to remember why we're being asked to say something, to keep that front of mind, and to always encourage the viewer to use whatever is being discussed as a portal and an opportunity for healing, for ourselves and for the collective. And if there is difficult things as well, to look in the mirror. You know, if you watch me a lot, I'm always talking about the mirror. What is this subject revealing to you? What is it trying to teach you? I also think in terms of other readers and other communities, you can tell a lot by the intention and the energy of somebody by looking at the community that follow them. And I'm really proud of you that follow me, because it's a heart-centered community here. Yes, have I had to weed out the community? Yes. Do I have to do that quite regularly? Yes, because I don't allow the hate on my channel and the arguing and the nastiness that you see. But that's a good gauge in terms of going onto someone's page, going onto someone's channel, and take a look at the community and how they are behaving. Because a community will reflect its leader, effectively. Not that I want to be called a leader, but, you know, the person who's the focus point, I suppose. So that's very true as well. Right, what else do I want to say? I felt as well, going back to this thing about we're all tarred by the same brush if the brush is dirty, whether it be the tarot community, whether it be the healing community. I do think the spiritual community needs a substantial cleanup. It's very much like Jesus going into the temple and clearing out the money changers, the people that are not there for the right reasons. So when the brush is dirty, the community is dirty. It's tainted by people that say they're on a spiritual path, but aren't trying to learn the lessons, come back to their heart, try to see the divinity in every person. And yes, I mean every person, even the ones we don't like, okay? We all get tarred with that brush, okay, that dirty brush. And I wrote here, it's as though we're digging our own grave, regards freedom of speech. Because, and I'm a big champion with regards to freedom of speech. I agree with Piers Morgan here when he talks about people who come at him for, you say you're a bastion of free speech, but you've just blocked me. And Piers always says, yes, I've blocked you because you're rude and I don't want you in my home. But you're free to go and say your stuff on the street corner or on your own page. That's free speech. Everybody has an opportunity to create a channel. Everybody has an opportunity to create a community. Everybody has an opportunity to post, etc. But this thing about anything goes now, and we see it particularly on X, on Twitter, is deeply concerning, because if we look at, again, the Kate story, I get a strong feeling that it will be used to clamp down on freedom of speech, what people can say, maybe what people can read on. Put it this way, if YouTube do a clean-up of anybody that said anything with regards to this story, they're not going to sit through an hour's worth of one of my videos to see that on balance, actually, I was fair and I was diplomatic and I tried my best to go to the higher timeline. I will just be lumped in with all the other readers that were spouting a whole load of nonsense and, frankly, crap. So it does matter, and it does matter that we try to clean up our own backyard, put our hands up when we know we've made maybe a mistake or we could have done better, try again, get back on the horse, but also help others to maybe see that their backyard is dirty as well. And that's why I really want to deliver this message in love, okay? In love, from the heart, from a place where I'm trying to help the wider collective, Does it feel as though it's a bit like a lone voice in the wilderness? It does a bit, yes, particularly with AI and the fact that probably in not too distant future, you don't have to be sitting listening to a human being such as me pulling cards on a situation. You can just go to a machine, and it's probably already there, you know, a mechanical voice that will tell you. And then what is the consciousness behind that? Who's programmed the machine? I don't know. We're in a bit of a mess, guys. And that's why it's really important to just sometimes roll up our sleeves and say, right, this is messy. How can we improve it? How can we evolve? Do we need better boundaries? Do we need to know when to stop? Do we need to remember the moral framework of spiritual work? I wrote here, the first page that I wrote when I was away, I said, Kate is just the latest story that has spiraled out of control. And I'm talking here in terms of all the rabbit holes that people have gone down. I've put, where did we lose ourselves? Where did we lose ourselves? Where is the moral framework? One of the big principles of my life has been do as you would be done to. That's a difficult one as well, because you could come back and say, well, hold on a minute, you know, your video on Kate and the eating disorders, would you have liked that done to you? To that, I will say this. If you're a raging, I'm not saying she's a raging alcoholic, okay? I'm not saying that, okay? I'm just giving you an analogy. We're talking maybe a potential addiction type energy. Sometimes an addict needs to be called out, but called out with love in terms of, hey, do you realize what you're doing to yourself? I don't think people understand that videos are portals of energy. And that even though somebody like Kate might never watch a single video I've ever done in my life, nobody linked to her may never watch a single video in their life, doesn't matter. The energy has rippled out. There's been like a wake-up call type energy gone out into the collective to say, hey, are you okay? That's basically what the energy was. Are you okay? What is all this finger taping about? What's going on? Are you okay, Kate? Because actually, I have your best interests at heart and I want the best for you because I love Kate. I think she's brilliant. And a really interesting example of videos being portals of energy, which is why we have to be so careful and so discerning in what we put out, is the video that I put out yesterday of my trip to Switzerland. Now, I nearly didn't put that out because one of my daughters watched it before I put it up because, you know, they're in it a little bit, well, only the back of them. And I said, is it okay I put this out? She said, yeah. She said, but Mum, no one's going to watch an hour of you huffing and puffing up a mountain. And I thought, yeah, you probably got a point. But anyway, as of this morning, 10,000 of you have, so thank you. Because it was meant to be light-hearted, and also it's a beautiful burst of nature and groundedness and healing and the beauty of Switzerland. So I'm glad I did put it up. But one of you said a really interesting thing. You said, at one point, I'm talking about the fact I was really feeling a bit of altitude sickness because it was quite high up. I was feeling dizzy and my ears were popping. And one of you said, my God, my ears popped at the same moment when you were going up and when you were coming back down. And I thought that is such a beautiful example of the fact that you weren't just watching me, you were energetically there with me on the mountainside. I don't quite know how that happens, but I know it can happen. In the same way that when I spray one of my sprays, many people say, my God, I can smell the scent and I'm sitting the other side of the world. How does that happen? It happens because what we're doing here is energy. And I know I'm talking to people that get what I'm saying here. But you know, this is also important in terms of the energy that we put out into the world is also the energy that we get back. So again, our intentions for doing anything, for saying anything, have to be immaculate. And as Metatron has always taught me, there has to be a filter system. Certainly with regard to the Kate video that I did in November, I sat with that for a good month. I got the information a month before I put the video out. And a month before the video went out, I thought, it's not right, it's not the right time. I sat on it for a month until I got the green light from Spirit. It's hard to explain to people that don't really understand the way energy works, but I know that I was true to my moral compass, and that's what matters to me. Okay, we all have a moral compass. Yours might be different to me. What else have I written down here? I think we're entering times. Oh, I've written down here as well, this thing about readings, as though some people are fair game. The royals are very good examples of this, but we could also talk about American politicians or Trudeau or anybody else that's divisive at this time. It's as though they're fair game because they are other, is what I've written. That we can say horrible things to them. We can call Ron DeSantis Ron DeSatan. We can call Donald Trump the orange. I don't even want to use the word because that's not who I am. I've seen the most awful things, names given to Donald Trump on supposedly spiritual channels, particularly in the community. You might be part of that community. If you are, I'd like you just to look around at who you're with. Why are you comfortable with other people calling Donald Trump, whatever you think about him, the most horrendous names? And the same too, absolutely, for Joe Biden. I think people do it because they see these characters on our stage as other. Charles isn't real, Justin isn't real, Donald isn't real, Joe isn't real. And so we can have a pop at them. We're really having a pop at ourselves because everybody is a reflection of us, whether we like it or not. And however much you might hate somebody or want them gone, the more that you give negative energy can actually be used as very positive fuel to keep people going as well. There's a book that I'm reading at the moment. I'm going to talk about this in my Easter video, but I haven't finished it yet. It's Anthony Doerr, About Grace. He was the author that also wrote All the Light We Cannot See. Beautiful, beautiful book that stayed with me for a long time. But in this book, I can't remember what context it is, but he's talking about fighting with people. And I would never call another person a pig, okay? But I just have to say what the quote is in the book. He says something along the lines of, never fight with a pig in the mud because pigs love mud. I thought that was great. It's so true. It's also that passage from the Bible with Jesus said about not putting pearls before swine, okay? Not putting pearls before swine, pearls being wisdom. Don't get down in the mud and fight with others. Look at who your community is. Look at the people that you're debating with online. Look at the people you're watching online. Are they coming from a heart-centered place? And I'm not saying that anybody out there is perfect, because nobody is. Everyone's got flaws. I absolutely am flawed. I am imperfect as well. So we're not seeking perfection. We're just seeking people that can own their mistakes, that can come back to their heart, and that can lead their communities with love. Because love is the thing that's really going to help us during these crazy days we're about to enter. Okay? Crazy years we're about to enter. What else have I put? I've put here how important it is that we think for ourselves, to be able to think differently from the crowd, to not easily be persuaded. One thing that seemed to be happening in the spiritual community with regard to, for example, Kate, was the herd mentality. It's like, because so-and-so has said it, it has to be true, and then everyone stampedes over there. I had people coming to my page, literally just saying, if you want the truth, go here, and pointing people towards the most ridiculous videos. I'm not even I actually remove the comments because it's just so bloody rude anyway. But, it is. It's just like the herd. Don't be the herd. Think for yourself. We can have differences of opinion. As long as we're polite and respectful to each other, it's okay. But what have I written here? I said, wanting to stay trapped in conspiracy. Oh, okay. Right, I'm going to go back to William T. Stead actually here. Yes, I need to channel him again. There's a lot of really good videos I've got coming up in the pipeline. But one of the things William T. Stead said to me on holidays, he said, can we self-govern ourselves? Can we self-govern ourselves? And I don't know what the answer is to that. That's a question I'm posing to us. Because William T. Stead talked about the ungoverned mind. He says the ungoverned mind leads away from enlightenment, not towards it. Remember my channeling with William? He was very, very, very hot on the fact that we have to be able to be masters of our own mind, to know our own mind. And what he's talking about here is, I'm just trying to go back to what he was talking about. He was talking about after death. And so somebody that in life appears very virtuous, pillar of the community, member of the church maybe, all of that, oh, so-and-so is the most wonderful person, does this, does that. And then after they die, it's like there's a moment of reckoning because God, universe, whatever you want to call it, is able to see into the mind. And the mind, during this very pious life, has been wanton. That's William's word, wanton, has been going here, has been going there, has been going, has been thinking the most terrible things. And that passes down the generations as well until it's cleared. Whereas somebody who might in life have done something terrible, actually on the surface not appear a particularly nice person, or certainly have done something not good, but have managed to turn their life around and have got control of their mind and, balance, equilibrium. It's like the whole world is losing their mind. And it started by all these Chinese whispers and gossip and believing what we want to believe to further our own separation and division. The number of people that just wanted to believe, for example, that William had killed her or done something terrible to her with zero proof, says a lot about where we are. Comes back to one of the tenets I think is very important, which is innocent until proven guilty. And I'm not talking about William here, I'm just talking about generally. The moral framework, do as you would be done to, innocent until proven guilty. Power of discernment, power of debate. Was it on YouTube or was it on another social media platform? I was talking about Socrates and, the power of debate. And in Socrates' day, that any theory or argument would be debated and the arguments would be tested, and not until everybody was satisfied would the debate be over. There was a process of filtering, of weeding out that which just didn't stand up to scrutiny, etc. We've lost that ability. Well, we haven't lost it, Metatron's saying. We have to rewire that ability within ourselves. We have to be able to rewire our ability to think for longer, to focus for longer, to not just take things at face value. And yes, I know that works both ways. And I really felt on holiday, guys, that one of the ways that we can rewire our brain is definitely via literature, it's via culture, it's via anything that's demanding we sit down and we focus, okay? We focus on something. The reason I talk about literature is if you read a good writer, their language, the eloquence, the articulate, I can't even say it, being articulate, it just leads you somewhere. It's like music, it's like classical music, it's firing up different neurons in your brain. It was quite interesting that I think 2 days ago, one example of somebody that I follow a lot, but I don't always agree with, Russell Brand. Russell Brand put out a nice little skit on Instagram of him and his dog, and he was just pontificating on something about the nature of water and vapour, and really we're just water and vapour. And literally I'd just been reading that day, the most beautiful couple of quotes from this book. And I'm going to tell you what they are, because to me it was a few things. It said to me, it was like a remembrance in terms of Russell, and I know I've talked about him quite a few times, that even though I don't agree with him on everything, And he's just one example. There's a soul tribe thing there, you know, so I'm going to give him a bit of a pass from time to time. Where is the passage? It was so beautiful. Here it is. It's only a really little passage. So he's talking about vapour in his garden, and I had just read this. There were the tiny wonders, raindrops, snow crystals, grains of frost aligned on a blade of grass, and there were wonders so immense it seemed impossible to get his mind around them. Global wind, oceanic currents, storms that broke like waves over whole mountain ranges. There was this one in particular. Scientists had engineered elaborate models, radar, radio beacons, now satellites, coasted above the atmosphere, peering in, and still it was nearly impossible to gauge the size and shape of a raindrop. No one knew exactly why an ice crystal bothered with such elaborate geometry. No one knew why liquid water was able to carry so much heat. No calculation was able to account qualitatively for the surface tension on top of a simple puddle. Water was a wild, capricious substance, nothing solid, nothing permanent, nothing as it appeared. That passage had really stayed with me. It had stirred something, it had fired up some neurons. And then I saw Russell pontificating about water as vapour, and I thought, there you are, your soul tribe. We don't always have to agree, but I get you, you know. And the other thing is, I think, whether you like Russell or not, again, he's a very articulate man. His language is beautiful. I really think, I almost wanted to say language can save us, you know? Language can save us. Language can save us. Language can also derail us. And so coming back to my point about language and what we say, the other side of the equation, of course, is how we listen. Do we actually hear anything? Do we really hear what somebody is saying? Do we understand the nuances? And that can work both ways. From my perspective, I'm trying to always speak from a place of love and from the heart. And even if I have to flag up, this doesn't look too good, guys. Okay, this doesn't look too good. I hope I'm wrong here. I'll always come back to a place of healing and love with it. I hope that's what people can see, if they want to see it. Of course, some people don't want to see it. They don't want to see that nuance. They don't want to stay with the video till its conclusion. But in the same way, I've been astounded that because I'm trying to, I guess, champion this, the return to the heart, to a moral framework. Some people have come back to me this week and said, well, hold on a minute, you know, you're wrong. This person, I've never mentioned any names, by the way, of people that I don't believe are heart-centered in the work they're doing. But some people have assumed who I'm talking about. And it's like, oh, no, of course they're not like that. And it's like, you really can't see the nuances, can you? You really can't feel the energy that this video is putting out. Let's go back to the energy that videos make when they are put out. If you come out and you're just slamming, for example, somebody as evil and dark and this and that, with no healing portal within it, with no mercy maybe within it, because God is the ultimate judge, not you. I believe that what is wrong in our world, what is evil, what is dark, will naturally arise. It's part of the awakening process. And the wise ones amongst us won't be the ones that are throwing the first stone. They will be the ones that pray for the soul of that person, okay? Pray for the victims of that person, absolutely. But equally, are able to see a more golden future beyond the darkness. So what's going on with Hollywood at the moment is a very good example of that. And it is going to be a subject, if I can talk about on YouTube, I will be talking about on YouTube. But let's put it this way. The angle that I'll take on that is with regards to P. Diddy. You know, I'm a 57-year-old woman. I don't listen to rap. I don't know anything about these players of that genre. Okay, I just don't. The only example of P. Diddy's work that I've ever even known about was "I'll Be Missing You," and that, well, I think is a good song. And I bought that. I bought a Princess Diana tribute album when she died. and he had done a version of it for her, I think, and it was beautiful. It's a lovely song. That's all I know. You can literally put on the back of the stamp what I know about this guy. Having said that, all the stuff that's coming out about him, all the names that are going to be exposed, it's going to be revolting, to be perfectly honest. So rather than going down to the cesspit and like really stirring and having a look at how horrible it is, I'm going to champion, for example, my way of looking at it will be championing some of the survivors and saying, look how strong they were to survive that, and shining a light on their brilliance. And I absolutely would include somebody like Justin Bieber in that. Okay, I love Justin Bieber. I've been a big fan of his for a long time via my daughter. He is a survivor, I'm sure, of abuse with regards to the the music industry, and why he's survived is he's turned to Jesus. Okay, it's very clear to me that he has Jesus's protection over him, because not many survive in that industry that want to get out of that whole scene and that whole situation and refuse to bow to their God, which is not the God that we bow to. Okay, let's just put it that way. How do we get onto all of this? Just how we approach difficult subjects, I guess, is what I'm talking about, all right? Okay, back to William T. Steed, that quote, the ungoverned mind leads away from enlightenment, not towards it. Darkness, if looked at long enough, can literally send you crazy. Yes, there are things that we can learn from it, but we have to be able to help heal the victims, but transmute the darkness, but move to a higher timeline. Okay. A few other things to say before I wrap up this video. Socrates. I wrote a bit about Socrates. I think I put this on a post, actually. Yeah, and I've done that. Metatron. Oh, right. Well, one thing Metatron said. So again, I'm going to go back to Kate, but again, Kate's just an example. Remember, we're talking not just, this isn't a video just about Kate. He said that those of us that were alive during Princess Diana's life, we saw how the paparazzi hounded her. We saw how the paparazzi were, if not responsible, certainly were involved to a degree with her death. Escaping the paparazzi, you know, was what they were doing when they were fleeing, going through that tunnel. Anyway, Metatron said to me, this is a difficult one to accept, okay, because we're all part of a collective, which is what I'm about to say. He said, we are the paparazzi. We're going back in a Diana loop. What did he mean by that? This incessant need to pull cards and read on subjects and not draw a line. It's like we know enough. Okay, for example, we know they're having difficulties. Okay, let's wish them well. That's where the line, I feel, should have stopped. Kate and William, I'm talking. But we behave like the paparazzi, whether we're a reader or whether we're a viewer, when it's just we have to keep looking, we have to keep looking, we have to keep shuffling. You know, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. I don't think that's healthy. I think we are behaving like the paparazzi then. That's what Metatron said. We're behaving like the paparazzi and we're going back into a Princess Diana loop, which none of us want to be. None of us want to do that. So we have to draw the line, okay? We have to draw the line. Okay, I think I'm nearly there. Anything else? It was interesting when I was in Switzerland that every half hour, the bells on the church chimed the rhyme to three blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife who chopped off their head with the farmer's knife, as three blind mice. I think every half hour it was just three blind mice, three blind mice, three how they run. And then on the hour it was a longer tune. It was really interesting. Three blind mice. It's an old nursery rhyme, of course, that many of us grew up with, that know. But do you know what I was shown when I was tuning into that? Three blind mice made me think of the three wise monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. But it's particularly three blind mice. Something about the eyes. Being blindfolded 3 times, it's more the eyes. I don't know why, but I'm particularly drawn to the eyes. Well, they're blind. Okay, that's why it's the eyes. Okay, 3 blind mice. There's something here about see no evil. It's to do with... Okay, I got the Yoda energy. Yoda in Star Wars, didn't he say something about be careful when you look into the darkness because the darkness sees you and looks back at you? You can become what you consume. It's what I've always said about going down the rabbit hole. Go down the rabbit hole, but then get the hell out of there quickly, because otherwise you get comfortable down there. You stay down there. It can actually blind you from the beauty of the world. It can blind you from the divinity that is in every single person, including the person you don't like, including your enemy. And when we're all blind and we can't see anything, well, we're in a hell of a mess. So after that, I've talked about, in my notes, I've talked about Moses and the 10 Commandments for a new age, in addition to the existing 10, not replacing the existing 10. I was beside a mountain. Okay, so it just feels as though we need a Moses type figure, or maybe we are Moses. We have to channel our inner Moses. What are the new 10 Commandments for this new age? Because I saw a very small clip, and I'm going to read on RFK Jr. and his new running mate, the lady. Can't even remember her name here, so leave that for another day. But one thing I did see about the clip I saw about her was she said something like, this is not 1935 America, this is 2024 America, and what worked in 1930s or 1920s doesn't work in 2024. And I thought, you're spot on, because again, whether you like her, whether you don't like her, there is a truth to what she's saying here with regards to AI is now out of the bag, okay? We're going to have to live with it. It's going to change our world. It already is changing our world. Social media has profoundly changed our world. These phones have profoundly changed our world. There are so many advances that are coming in that are going to change our world. But how do we navigate that? It's as though we're losing. It feels as though some of the old principles, which we still need to have, with regards to do as you would be done to, treating your neighbour as yourself, all that type of thing, love your neighbour, still really important, but equally there seem to be new commandments, new boundaries to help us navigate this brave new world, you know, which we have found ourselves in. The next thing that I wrote in my notes was I noticed that Charles Earl Spencer, one of the knights that I was talking about with regards to King Arthur, and I'll come back to that work soon, he just posted something with regard to this whole Kate fracas, which was whatever happened to truth. Whatever happened to truth. And I'm just going to leave that in the air, okay? We're all searching for truth. We'll come back to that, guys. That's a big old question. I think the last few things I'd like to say is, last thing I want to say, I've seen some videos of, I think usually they're fundamentalists or ex-New Ager. Don't ever call me a New Ager, I hate that term, but, you know, I would be lumped in with the New Age community probably. Talking about con-spirituality. And to be perfectly honest, I feel the way that the spiritual community have been behaving recently, I think it's quite a fitting name. I go back to the point that we're digging our own grave. No regulation means even if we try to hold a higher standard, we are tarred by the same brush. It's what I've said earlier on in this video. We don't want to be known for that. We want to be better than that, don't we? And it starts with each one of us taking responsibility for what we watch, for what we say, for how we interact, and really checking in on ourselves on a daily basis with regards to why do we need to know that? Why do we need to know that? How is it serving me? Or it could be, it is serving the collective, you know. I'm going to pull, I think, a final couple of cards from the tarot and see what they'd like to say. There's more I could have said in this video, but I think I'm going to leave it there today. And then I'm going to come back and do a Easter message for you. I'm going to be looking at the April the 8th eclipse in America. I'm going to be doing some channelings with the Heart Squad, probably Audrey Hepburn, who came through in Switzerland on the mountainside. Okay, we've got the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands, 2 aces. And we've got that's nice, we've got the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is saying this is the wider spiritual community. This ideally is what we should be. Able to be around the campfire, as I've always said, John Lennon channeling, sitting around the campfire with people who are part of our wider family, who we don't always see eye to eye with, but we are completely civil to, okay? Now, I'm being honest, there are some people in the community I don't really want to sit with at the moment. I have to be absolutely honest with that, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way. But that's the goal. That is the goal. That's what we're trying to get to. And we've got 2 aces. We've got the Ace of Fire and the Ace of Earth. So we've got fire and earth energy coming in to help us. Feels as though with regards to everything I've been talking about in this video, the Ace of Wands is saying let's transmute and send a holy fire to remove and transmute lower energies that are affecting us all, that are putting up the smoke screen, and let us plant earth energy, plant new seeds so that our community can bloom with people who really are of the light, who are trying their best, who are very human, who make mistakes, who put their hands up, who are willing to come on and explain, maybe why they do things, why they say things, and who are building a very positive community. This is also a card of community. People who are building a positive community. I'm very proud that you're part of my community. I'm very grateful that you're part of my community, and I do not take it for granted. And I tell you what, over the holidays, I really was able to tune in just to the absolute love that is at the heart of the communities that I have. I'm lucky to have on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So, with that being said, I'm going to leave that there. I'll come back tomorrow and I'm going to record a video for Easter. We're going to be talking about my new cross, which is amber. And if you have any amber, get some amber out over Easter, because there's a reason why I'm wearing this. And I bought this in Switzerland. This was the one that I got, guys. And I also got the earrings. I couldn't resist it. But I tell you what, I now realise why I had to buy this. That will be in tomorrow's video, and we'll be bringing through some messages from Jesus and probably the 2 Marys, and I don't know what, but I'll see you then. And then also April the 8th eclipse video is coming up soon as well, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you're still subscribed. Thank you. Have a good Easter if I don't catch you over the weekend. Okay, bye for now. Bye.